Hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DiyDreaming. I hope you're having a wonderful day. On this quick video tutorial, Diane and I are going to show you how you can use your iron, some parchment paper, some of these tumbled marble tiles that you can get at your Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, any kind of hardware store, some napkins, I have some over here, and a little Mod Podge, plus some cork to make some great coasters that are super easy. The thing that's exciting about this project is the iron factor. So Diane, come in and tell us about that.
Well, the people that follow me know that Mod Podge and I were not friends. Because when I would put a napkin down on something, there was bubbles everywhere. And I knew there had to be a better way. So I researched and saw several crafters doing this, and I've done this on some of my lives. And you put the Mod Podge on the product that you're going to put the napkin on, and you let it dry. And if you use your heat gun, you can dry it right away, or like we did, Heidi did it a couple hours ago and just let it dry naturally. And then you put the napkin down and use your iron, and there are no bubbles. It is awesome. So I'm gonna let Heidi take over and show you what she's gonna do.
Okay, so thank you, Diane. Yeah, she told me this secret trick a while ago. I'm still leaning to the side. And I've been meaning to try it, and now that I had her here in person, I said, today, can you show me how to do this? So she did. Okay, so the first step is you're gonna get some of these tumbled marble tiles at your local hardware store. And they usually come in a package of 10 or 12. You wanna kind of look through the stacks because some of them are gonna be super holy. Like there were, I mean, these have fossils and all kinds. These are actually made from stuff at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah. So some of them are gonna have a ton of, careful that iron is hot, a ton of holes and stuff in them. So do look through them a little bit. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because they'll be all sealed in plastic. The most ideal ones look like this. So of this package that we had here, 8 of them were, I would say, good for this project. And 2 of them were like that. So you just do something else with those ones. Okay, so the first thing that we did was I just took some of my favorite matte Mod Podge. You can get this stuff at any craft store, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's. You can get it online from Amazon, or if you don't have it, you can make it from white school glue. Just ask Mr. Google and he'll tell you what the recipe is because it's super easy. But I prefer the matte. That means it doesn't have any shine to it, so it's just completely personal preference. And I just took a sponge brush and applied 1 coat to these coasters. And I mean, you can't, they look slightly darker. I wasn't really careful about making sure that there weren't lines or anything in it. I just put on a really quick coat. And then we let them dry. Oh, and one thing I did before I did that was I took a paper towel and wiped them off good because they have a lot of dust and, you know, marble dust on them. So I wiped them off before I put the Mod Podge on. And then we just let that dry for a couple of hours. Then we went shopping. Then we came back and I'm gonna show you the steps. Okay, so my sweet, sweet friend, Susie Noble, sent me a little package of goodies this week, and in it were some of these beautiful napkins that say, "Rejoice in the Lord always," and they have this darling little border on them. She sent a variety of things, but these are the ones that I'm using, and then also these. And they're gorgeous. And these are subtle, so if you like brighter colors, or, you know, whatever your personal style is, you can find paper napkins everywhere. You know, one great source for paper napkins is Tuesday Morning. They have great napkins. And in fact, I made these coasters last year using some like ocean looking napkins. But I did them the old-fashioned way with using wet Mod Podge, and you can tell that they're not completely smooth. I didn't do Diane's trick. Also, I used those same napkins to do these, and we'll be doing some of these oyster and seashell projects this summer.
Isn't that beautiful?
But this is Mod Podge also. So, let's set this aside. Okay, so once your coasters are, your tile, your tumbled tile things are dried, then you're going to get your iron out and tell them the tip about steam.
It cannot be,
Come over here so they can see.
it cannot be steam. You want to use dry heat to do this. Do not use steam because it will just mess things up.
Okay, so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your napkin from a 2-ply or a 3-ply, sometimes they are. They have this white lining on the inside of them. So you want to take that off, and that's hard if you have fingernails. Get this started here.
I lick these 2 fingers. She's too sanitary.
No, I'm not. But I have had people say don't do that. It bothers them on my videos.
Okay.
So I'm like hesitant to ever lick my fingers, although I do it sometimes. Okay, there we go. So you're gonna just get your 2-ply started, and then slowly you're gonna pull this inside off. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? And the whole thing will come off. I do this before I cut the napkins up at all. So you get the point of that. I don't need to finish pulling these apart. But you just want this front part. And sometimes there will be 3 plies of the napkins. Okay, so this one's all ready to go. And I've already used part of it. And this design had different, like part of it had this pretty part. So I am going to do 4 different styles of coasters using this, and I'm going to include these in the next blessing bundles that I send out. I'm excited about that. Okay, so let's see. I am just going to use part of this one right here. And you want to use parchment paper in between your napkin and your tile and your iron. And this is just El Cheapo non-stick parchment paper. It was like $1.50 or something from Walmart. I think that's the Great Value brand is Walmart. And you're going to decide where do you want your little design to be, because I want them to all be slightly different. I'm going to do this bottom corner here. And I want these 2 little flowers to be in here. So I've just got, it's laying on top of my tile that has the Mod Podge on it. You know, I didn't say any of my normal stuff. Hey everyone. Thanks for joining me. Wow, there's 600 people on. Oh my gosh, and people have been sending stars already. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have my parchment paper. It doesn't matter. I asked Diane this question. Does it matter which side? And apparently it does not. And my iron is set on cotton, no steam. Okay, so I'm just going to lay my iron on top of the napkin with the parchment paper in between.
Always keep it moving. Never
Yeah,
just
tell
set
them
it
why.
down. If you set it,
Come over here so they can
okay, if you just set it down on that, it will actually singe. Remember the other day when we were doing my t-shirt and we got a singe mark? It will singe the napkin. So you want to keep moving, and you want to do the outside corners really well too.
Yeah. So we're not going to be completely finished with this project just after we iron it on. There's a few more steps to show you, but what the iron does is it gets it so that it is flat and not rippled or sort of bubbled, or when you lay a wet napkin into some Mod Podge on something, it can sometimes tend to sort of bunch up. It's hard to get it to lay flat, basically. So how long would you say I need to continue going over it?
Well, I lift up the parchment paper and check how it's going. And that one just looks like you need the corners. It looks like the center is pretty good.
Okay. Your stone is going to stay warm for a while. It's crazy. So what other things could you do this idea with the iron on?
You could do it on wood. You could do it, whatever you Mod Podge, you could Mod Podge in that way.
Do you think we could do it on these?
Oh, absolutely.
These are those new cutting board things that Magnolia Design Company just...
The medium size.
Yeah, they have smaller ones. There's also tags and stuff. Could you do it on those as well?
Absolutely.
Like on that kind of idea. That would be cute. I think some of those are Magnolia. I can't remember. Yeah. So any tips for how you can get into these corners good?
Just keep working at it and test it out. I would test it out now, I bet. Oh yeah, you're okay.
Oh yeah.
Just need
Okay.
What you're doing is reactivating the Mod Podge with the heat.
Awesome. Okay.
You gonna unplug it?
Yeah. Okay, so then the next thing is you're going to use a sanding block and some sandpaper, but I'm going to trim this napkin down just a little bit so we're not sanding off so much. Can you guys see okay? I think you can. Wow, there's 700 people on there. That might be a record for me. I'm not sure. If you guys like this project, and I have a lot of great things coming up in the future, do a this or this. This is a heart, in case you can't tell what that is. Or say something in the comments, and that will increase the chance that Facebook will show you something I ever do again in the future. Because I don't know, it's a complete mystery who they decide to show what. Where did I put my sanding block? Oh, here it is. Okay, so we experimented with two different kinds, two different grits of sandpaper. This is 220, and we thought this was maybe not strong enough, right?
Right.
This is just an old sanding block that doesn't have much grit left to it. And this is a piece of 80.
But it wouldn't have to be that much of an extreme between the two.
Yeah, okay. Do you think I need to wait till it's cooled down at all?
Nope. Not unless it's too hot for you to hold.
I don't think so. Okay.
Just make sure you tell them to always
Oh yeah,
go.
tell them that. Ooh, it is warm.
You always want to go in one direction. Don't go back and forth like this. Just go straight down. And it will take it right off. Do you see how the little pieces come right off?
Is that burning your hand?
It's warm, but I don't think I'm going to get third-degree burns. Okay.
Going shopping for napkins. That's what Becky says. Fun crafting with a friend. Yeah. Yeah, we are having fun. Unfortunately, Diane's going back home tomorrow, but it has been a good visit, a really good visit. And it doesn't have to be the only time that you ever come to see me, or I can come to see you.
Well, in Iowa, we have a saying, after 2 or 3 days, both garbage and company start to stink. So I don't want to stay too long.
That's a terrible saying.
Well, that's
There's no
the Midwest.
stinking here. She's been good company too, because honestly, after I got my COVID shot, I did not feel well. So she's had to do some entertaining her own self, because I have not, I'm good today, but I was not super great yesterday. It's good when you have somebody come and you don't feel like you have to like be entertaining the whole entire time.
Just looking at Hiedi is entertaining.
Oh yeah, right. She even went with my husband to get pizza last night. So that's pretty comfy to be in the car with him just by yourself. You know, don't you ever feel uncomfortable around other people's husbands that you don't know very well? Because you know me well, but you don't know him well.
But I felt real comfortable in your home, and we've talked a lot, so it didn't bother me.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I have the majority of this off. Ooh, it's still hot. Can you take this whole thing?
Absolutely.
Thank you, and just throw it on the floor. So now I'm going to just wipe whatever dust might be on the top of it. And we're going to, you can use whatever kind of adhesive you want. You could even use the Mod Podge to adhere the cork that you're going to put on the bottom. And there's lots of different options for that. Last year when I made these, I made these with Mod Podge and napkins that came from Tuesday Morning. I just used these little round feet things so that I wouldn't set it on a table and scratch it up. So you could do that. Also at Dollar Tree, they have whole pieces of this cork that have adhesive on the back. So you could use that. I'm going to use these that are just cork coaster squares. Were these from
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby?
Should I hold it up
Yeah.
close so you can see?
Yeah. Those are kind of expensive because you only get six or eight pieces.
6.
So it's up to you. The Dollar Tree stuff you could probably get. Oh, you could probably get 3 or 4 coasters out at each $1. Okay, so now we're going to put the cork on the back, and I'm going to use E6000 and a paintbrush to put it on the cork, and then we'll stick it on here. But you could, like I said, you can use whatever kind of glue you want. I mean, you could even use white craft glue, don't you think? So these E6000s are so awesome though. They even have the little pointy thing in the tip of the cap that allows you to poke a hole in your tube. And I'm just going to put a generous amount on here. And I'm using a yucky brush that'll probably get thrown out after this last use, because I won't want to clean this E6000 out of it.
Is there a way to clean E6000?
I don't know, is there?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I'm just spreading it. This glue is so strong, you don't have to have a super thick layer. Just covering the whole entire coat, the whole entire piece of cork. Okay, good enough. And then I'm going to lay it down on top of my coaster. And these are just a smidge too big. So I put it off center. See how you can see how it goes over the edge just a little bit. And when it is completely, oh, I see a spot that I didn't get that rubbed off good enough. But when it was completely dry, then I would take my X-Acto knife and I would just cut along the edge to trim it up neat, okay? And then I have one that's at that stage right here. Let me show you up close. It's had the Mod Podge put on the stone. Then I ironed the coaster over the top of it. Then I glued the cork on the back and I trimmed it up. And now I've wiped it off so there's no dust on it. And we're gonna apply one more coat of Mod Podge over the top. Just one or possibly even two coats, because if you set a wet glass on it, you want it to be, you know, really solid. 2 coats probably. Diane's doing this. Okay, and I'm just taking a yucky foam brush and my Mod Podge. You can, like I said earlier, you can use any kind of Mod Podge. If you like it glossy, choose the glossy kind. If you like it matte, choose the matte kind. If you want to make your own recipe, because Mod Podge is kind of expensive for some reason, I don't really know why, you can make it, it's like 2 parts Elmer glue and 1 part water or something. It's really simple. And so I'm just gonna put, do you think there's any, do you put this on light? Would you put it on thick? What would you do, Diane?
I would say you're putting a medium coat on and you're doing a good job. Because if you layer it too much, it might, or put it on too thick, it might start to crack a little bit.
And also it looks like foggy or
cloudy,
something.
yeah.
Cloudy, yeah. So I think this would be pretty good for the first coat. And it won't be foggy or cloudy when it dries. It'll be really nice. So this whole idea, I'll do the exact same thing to this one, which, okay, so these were the other 2 that I made. This one is just the edge of these Rejoice in the Lord. And I was thinking if you did the edge of it, then you could do something else right over here if you wanted. And this one is just the Rejoice in the Lord. What was I saying? Oh, that you can use any kind of napkin that you like that appeals to you. And these are so inexpensive. Like a set of 10 of the tiles is what, about $2? So they're like 25 cents a piece, roughly.
They make great gifts.
Yeah, so a stack of these, 4 or 8 of them, with some jute or ribbon tied around them with the cork on the back is a great gift. And you can make them seasonal. There's just so many awesome things that you can do with this. So I encourage you guys to try the iron method. Again, don't use any steam because that will mess it up. And just set your iron on cotton, and you're gonna put the Mod Podge on your piece first and let that dry before you apply your napkin and the heat. But it's pretty easy. So where did you say the tiles came from? Okay, well, the different hardware stores have different ones.
Those are from Home Depot.
These are from Home Depot. But Lowe's has stuff like this. Ace has stuff like this. Any hardware store is going to have these. These are meant to be in your kitchen on your backsplash. They're going to have different sizes too. So let's see, were there any other questions? Could you stencil on top of the Mod Podge? I think you probably could. What would you use? That's a question. I think I would use ink. Would you?
I was going to say chalk paste and then spray them.
Oh, okay. So Diane says, yes, if you want to stencil over the top, like on this one, if you wanted to put the letter D right here, for example, after we had it all finished with another layer of Mod Podge. She says, use chalk paste and then spray it with a sealer.
I don't know.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to put those tiles in the oven to heat set after the napkins Mod Podge done, and the Mod Podge would fall off.
Yeah, yeah. So she says that she would use a chalk paste with a stencil over the top, and then she would spray it probably with a couple coats of a clear sealer, which I suppose you could do that as well. But the Mod Podge is just so nice to work with. Let's see, are there any other questions? Hey Adela, how are you doing? And thank you guys so much for all the stars. I really appreciate that. Okay, Susan says she thinks ink. You know, it's just totally up to you. You try it. It's not a very expensive experiment. If you try one for 25 cents and it doesn't work out great, then you've learned something. And I say that those are never mistakes. They're just learning opportunities. And then you can try a different medium after that. Thank you, Connie, for the stars. I appreciate that.
Where
Anything?
did you get the napkins?
Okay, where did I get the napkins? Well, these pretty napkins came from my friend Susie. Hey, Susie, thank you so much for sending these. But you can get them everywhere, every store, Walmart, Target, Hallmark, all the craft stores. You can order them online. There's like incredible amount of variety of paper napkins that you can order online. My Tuesday morning has some great napkins, and I absolutely loved these. I was doing a whole beach motif. I made candle garters out of these. We did this on candles. Oh my gosh, I bet you could use the iron method on a wax candle to put napkins on it too, if you use parchment paper.
Someone asked why I would use the oven. All of the inks are for cloth or for ceramics or things like that, need to be heat set. And if you heat set this in the oven after you put the ink on, then I think it would melt the Mod Podge and the napkin.
Susie says you're welcome. Thank you, friend. You're so good to me. Okie dokie. So, I mean, you don't even have to go the next step to stencil over the top of it. They're pretty darn cute just with the napkins Mod Podged on them. And they do make great gifts. So anyways, say something in the comments. Give me a this or a this if you want to see what I have coming up next. When I get some of this a little bit further along, I'll get pictures. Come say goodbye one time, Diane, because I don't know when when you'll be live with me again. If you want to follow Diane on Facebook, how do they get to your page?
It's DIY with, they're separate words, DIY with Lady Di, D-I.
So how would that be? Facebook.com/
but it's because they had to take out one of the words.
Is it DIY Lady
Di? Yeah, DIY Lady
So-
Di. The with is not in it.
So it would be Facebook.com/ DIYLADYDI. Anyways, I'll figure out how to get a link and I'll put that here in the comments. You should definitely follow her. We do a lot of similar kind of projects, but we each have our own little spin on things. And yeah, so thanks so much for joining us. Thanks, Diane, for teaching me how to use the iron to do decoupage. Never thought about doing that ever. And we're going to sit down and look at all your comments. So if you have questions, let us know. If you haven't had a second to go up here and like and follow DiyDreaming, that's this page right here, and set your notifications, you could do that now. It just takes a couple seconds. If you want to see what I have coming up next, you should do that. You can do this and this too, and that will improve your chances even more. Alrighty, I'm gonna let this run for just a few minutes, so that not a few minutes, a few seconds, so that you can do a thumb or a heart or say something in the comments, and then I will turn it off. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope that you have a great rest of your day. Alrighty, see you later. Okay, Margaret, I see you posted something interesting saying that you can use cling wrap instead of Mod Podge. That is interesting. I will definitely have to look into that. If you could send me some information in a personal message, I'd love to know more about that. I do get so many ideas from you guys. So anyways, thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys again tomorrow for another craft project that's going to be quick. It's going to be easy. You don't have to have any special crafting or artistic abilities. It's going to be affordable. It's going to be maybe sometimes a little different or unusual. And most of the time, 99% of the time, it's going to be either faith or family focused. Alrighty, have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thanks.